Welcome back, everybody, to another live 1-2 here in Orlando, Florida at Orange City Poker. It's the best room in Central Florida, I think, so come on by and see me. And we are looking at an blind open to 11 from the cutoff. There's one guy that limps to him. Then the button raises to 25 after the cutoff checks his blind open. I have ace-king offsuit. I'm 100% raising here for isolation, trying to get a heads up with the button. As he is likely the only person with a real hand. We do see the original limper, though, back jam for 27, less than the 75 that I put in, which is a little surprising. We would expect to see him, maybe put a raise in. I'm not sure, but given the strange dynamics, it's not too bad. The button does fold out, so we are heads up. I'm getting 3-1 on ace-king offsuit. I'm going to take this shot every time I get an opportunity. I think I'm in pretty good shape. The pot's $85, queen 7-5 offsuit. It's not much help for me, but I'm still beating all the other aces, 2 of hearts and 8 of spades, and then he shows king 8 of hearts. So I guess he just wanted to gamble. I had him absolutely dominated pre-flop, but hey, good for him. He wanted to gamble. He won the toss. It takes a lot of work to get these videos out, so if you enjoy the content that I'm bringing, please do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe button. It really helps me out, and it gives me the encouragement to keep going. Next interesting hand, I'm in a bomb pot, and I think it's like 5 or 6 ways. I think it's 6 ways, so there's 44 in the middle. We get 9-7-6 with 2 diamonds on the top and queen 10-5 rainbow on the bottom. I'm in early position, and I have ace 10 of diamonds, so I usually check my entire range here. I like to see when I'm in early position, I like to be able to kind of see what the other players do in later position. Obviously, I don't mind getting a free card here because I'm not really going to improve my 10 very often on the bottom board, but I could improve to the nut flush on the top board. We do see the middle position player open for 35. That's a little bit on the big side. Sometimes you'll see people open with anything for like 20 bucks or something. So he might actually have a pair here. He might have a pair plus here. We see a call from one of the blind players, and then I put in the call as well. There's no reason for me to raise here just yet. We see a 3 of clubs and an 8 of clubs, so no improvement whatsoever. In fact, my 10's being downgraded now. There's some straights coming in on that board. There's some straights coming in on the other board too, right? 5-4 makes a straight on the 7-6-3 board. So I check. We see the same player on the flop continue with $70 bet, and then the blind player calls 70. So now I'm getting a price, right? Sometimes I could just fold out here if it was a lot, and if I wasn't getting a price, I'm not really likely to improve that much, I might just fold here. But in this case, I don't necessarily mind getting it in 3-1. There's still some money left behind too, so I have some implied odds as well. And so we see the 3 of spades. We miss our flush draw, but the ace of hearts comes in on the other board. So there's a backdoor hard draw that did come in, but I do make top pair, top 2. When it checks to me, I don't necessarily mind putting it in. I can get some value from maybe a queen here. I can maybe bluff off. I think sometimes like a 9, like a naked 9 on the other board might start to fold here. I'm all in for a 96. But you see a call from that middle position player, and I show that I have 2 pair, and he does eventually show that he has queen 7. So he flopped a pair on both boards. It's not that unusual to see players kind of going all 3 streets when they're in that situation, because a lot of times they tend to think, well, I've got one board and the other guy can't possibly have both boards. So we do end up chopping this up. It's not bad. I mean, that's $551 pot to chop. I'm loving that. Sometimes you might play an entire 1-2 session, and your profit only comes from these big blinds, right? Or from these bomb pots. So I'm happy to take that one down and move on to the next hand. In the next notable hand, I'm in the cutoff, and we're going to see one of the most loose aggressive players that I know in the card room. You people probably know him too if you play there. He opens to 10, and there's a caller in between for 10. I have ace queen of spades, so this is a mandatory 3-bet. I've mixed it up with this guy many times before. He knows that I'm capable of bluffing here. He knows that I'm capable of having a strong hand here. So 4x is probably fine. I could probably go 5x, maybe 50 over. He would probably call with a lot of junky hands like low pocket pairs, some worse aces if I made it 50 or even 60. So the sizing, 40 is okay, but it's not the best to get, especially against a loose aggressive player. He does put in the call, and the third player folds out. So this is going according to plan. We are heads up to the flop, and Holy hell, look at that flop. Queen, queen, ace. So I flopped the absolute world. I know it's not going to help him. He checks, and I fast check behind. And now I'm starting to talk to him a little bit. I'm like, this board's not good for you. And he checks to me on the 4. I'm going to just put a little bit more money in here. I make it 40 to go. And he does fast call. So sometimes this could be some clubs. This could be an ace. This could be maybe some stronger pairs like 8s through 10s. We do see a 4 of spades on the river, so now I'm really hoping that he has a 4. I'm really hoping that he has ace 4, right? I'm getting paid if he has ace 4. So he checks to me, and I do jam at 182 over a 170 pot. I want to make it look like I'm just trying to buy the pot. He could call if I have something like king jack. He could potentially hero me with a pocket pair. He's talking it over. Then he flashes me in the pocket tens, and unfortunately he folds. I understand why. I probably wouldn't call here either if I had pocket tens. But he does, talk me into showing that I was not bluffing. I have ace queen here. So we're good. And we're moving on to the next hand. I didn't catch it on camera, but I have ace 5 of hearts in early position. I opened a 10. I want to have a variety of hands that I can open with here. So we do have some of my strongest hands and some of my weakest hands that I'm going to normally open here. Ace 5 being one of the weaker hands that I'm going to open in early position. We do get called a couple of different ways. And look at that. Queen, jack of hearts, 5 of spades. I have a pair plus the nut flush draw. I don't mind c-betting at all into this board, especially multi-way. If I completely miss, I can just check and give up. But we do see a raise from the middle position player to 35 and a call from, I think he's in the blind, the small blind or the big blind over there on the other end of the table. And I'm getting an incredible price here on my nut flush draw. So, there's some considerations to maybe repopping it there, but that's a little bit more on the aggressive side. And the guy in the middle position is on the more conservative side, of the tighter side. So he probably does have something here, like maybe top pair, possibly even top 2 pair, and just picked a bad sizing. It checks through on the turn, which is a 4 of spades. That doesn't help me at all. We do see the 2 of clubs, and the small blind just folds. He just mucks his hand. So this opens up a bluffing opportunity for me here. When it checks through on the turn, I don't necessarily consider that my opponent might be super nutted here. I would expect him to fire again, given the double flush draw comes in on the turn. I make it 110. He starts thinking it over, and he asks me, like, are you making a move on me? Probably because the other guy mucked, I mean, he's not wrong. I am making a move on him, trying to represent something like maybe ace 3 of hearts would have make a straight, just 2 pair, right? 5-4. They got curious and picked up 2 pair on the turn. A pocket 4s, pocket 5s maybe. But he does put in the call. I must have bluff written all over my face, and he is good with queen 10. It's not a heart. The graphics are wrong, but he does have queen 10. And I don't know why he heroed me there with a bad kicker, but like I said, I must have bluff written all over my face. So good for him on that one. Next hand comes a little while later in the session. The table dynamics have definitely changed. There's a lot more tight players at the table. A lot of the loose, aggressive players have either busted or left. I've got queen 10 under the gun. I don't mind opening this here. Any suited Broadway. High hand days are always great too, right? Because you're getting some implied odds in case you hit a high hand. You might make another couple $100. So I opened a 10. We do see a call from a late position player. I think she might be on the button. I think she's on the button. Yeah. So it's heads up. It's just me and the button. And the flop comes ace, king, 7 with 2 diamonds. It's not great for my hand. I have a gutter to a straight draw if a jack comes off, but I'm just c-betting here to just apply range pressure. She calls because it's a single raise pot. I'm going to check the turn here because I just want to see if I develop anything. And look at that. I hit a jack of hearts on the river. So I do make a straight. Now I get to go for some value. I think half pot's fine here. Check, bet, check lines for value are very good because a lot of times players just don't think you have anything when you check the turn. And she does put in the call for 15, and I show that I have a straight, and she shows that she has king 9, right? So she heroed me with second pair, bad kicker, and that's why bet, check, bet works really well when you've got value, right? I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing that when you're bluffing like I did in the previous hand. So yeah, there you go. Moving right along, the table's filled up and I am on the button. We see a couple of players limp and I have pocket queens. And so, you always want to size up a bit when you've got multiple limpers in the field. I think 15 from the button here is totally fine. Ideally, you want to be heads up in these situations. You don't necessarily want to go multi-way with big pairs. I prefer to go multi-way with like middle suited connectors, stuff that you can low pairs, stuff that you can flop sets and straights with. We do see a call from both the small blind and the cutoff, so we're 3 ways to flop. 9-4 deuce rainbow. This isn't really specifically helpful to my hand, but it's not helpful to a lot of their ranges either, unless they flop to set. When it checks to me, I make it 15. This totally fine. It's 1/3 size when you're multi-way. That's very standard, very fine. If it was heads up, I might make it half pot to try to get some more value. We do see a call from the cutoff on my right and an ace of clubs on the turn. So now I've got some showdown value. If he did hit an ace, I would expect him to lead on a lot of rivers. So I check back and we see the 5 of spades. Now there's a 4-liner to a straight. The 3 makes a straight here. If he's got some strong hand, I would expect him to lead here. He does check, so now I'm thinking, okay, I can go for some thin value. I can get a not disbelieving 9 to call me. I should be betting on the small side, like maybe 1/4 pot, like 20 bucks maybe. Instead, I make it 45 and he snap folds, so we move along. Still a winner of a small pot there. I know you guys either love or hate bomb pots, but they are sometimes some of the most significant profit or loss that you'll make in a session. So I always include the biggest hands that I play in any given session. So we are in another bomb pot. I'm in the hijack. There's about $55 in the middle. We see Queen Jack 10 rainbow on one board and Queen 8 on the other board. We see an early position player. It's a tighter old man coffee type, if you know what I mean. She opens to 25 and it folds to me. I've got Queen 7. I've got trips on one board and top pair on the other. I'm definitely calling here. I could make a case for raising for isolation to get heads up. There are some draws available. The Queen 8 board, like somebody has like Jack 10 specifically, or 10-9, they might have a gutter straight draw there. We do see one other player call, so we're still 3 ways to turn. Jack of clubs on one board, 3 of clubs on the other. It doesn't change the nuts for me on the set of queens. It does change the nuts on the other board. So when she continues her aggression for 40, I think I can just call here. I don't see any point in raising. I could be dead on one board, probably fine on the board with a set, unless somebody just flopped a set of 8s or turned a set of 3s. I wouldn't see a 3 necessarily. I wouldn't see pocket 3s necessarily continuing for 25 on the flop, but I've seen stranger things happen. So we do see all the other players fold out. So now we are definitely heads up, and she's in the big blind. So the top board is a 6 of spades. The bottom board is a 5 of hearts. Doesn't change the nuts for me on the board with a set. It doesn't really change anything on the other board. She makes it 45. I don't mind a call here. There's really no point trying to drive extra value in the middle. And she does fast roll that she has Jack 10. So she flopped 2 pair on one board and turned a full house. And I was pretty much safe the entire way on the other board. That wrapped up the first session. Obviously, I'm not showing you guys every hand I played because that would be kind of boring, but just the highlights. I was in for 500, out for 350. I had a net loss of 150 on the session over 3 hours. So that's $50 an hour. Pretty easy math, guys. I had a 25% VPIP, so I was definitely active. That's about average for me. I don't get too crazy out of line. Usually I'll see a VPIP between 20 and 30%, just depending on the card distribution. All right, starting off the second session, I've got Jack 10 offsuit under the gun, and for whatever dumb reason, I decide to open here for 7. Don't do this, guys. This is a trash hand. You probably should just be folding it. Unless the table is insanely weak and passive, just don't open these kinds of hands. Anyway, I open a 7. We get like 5 people that call, so we're definitely not in good shape. Actually, I think it's only 3 people. Ace, Jack, 8 with 2 spades. I do have middle pair here. I should not be betting. I should probably just be checking. Instead, I c-bet for 15, which is half pot. This is just dumb. I'm being dumb here, guys. Don't do this. We do get called by a late position player, and then another player calls, and then a fourth player calls, third player calls. We're 4 ways. This is terrible. This is terrible. I finally get the memo here on the turn and start to get smart here. We see the 9 of hearts on the turn. It checks to me. I check. That's the right thing to do here. Sometimes you can make a bad decision early in a hand and make up for it by a better decision later. It checks through, and look at that. I hit a straight. 7 of diamonds on the river, so I've got the 4-liner straight here. Jack 10, 9, 8, 7. I have to count it several times in my head to make sure I do have a straight. I bet 30 into about 70, just trying to get value calls from aces here. We see one player call and he's got the other 10, so we chop it up. 141, 70 coming back each way. I get saved for my own stupidity on pre-flop and flop. I just don't do that, guys. Just play smarter, play stronger ranges from early position, and you won't ever be in these spots where you have to get really, really lucky on the river. This next hand isn't a huge pot, but it's an interesting decision spot. I have ace king offsuit. There's a straddle to 5 on. I'm in the small blind, so I make it 15. Sometimes you should make it like 20 or 25 in these spots, guys. They're going to call you anyway. We do get called from the button, so there's about $30 in the middle, and we're heads up, right? So we see the flop. It is jack 8-8 rainbow. This isn't very good for ace king, right? I do check to him, and he checks back, so we might still have the best hand here. Jack of spades on the turn, and I think this is where I can apply some pressure. I make it 15, and he decides to raise it up to 55. So what does he have here, right? He's going to have a jack. He's going to have an 8 a lot of times. If he's bluffing, what is he bluffing with? He's bluffing with king queen, maybe. He's bluffing more likely with 10-9. He's bluffing with some spades. I have the king of spades, so that reduces that possibility a little bit. It's probably just not worth fighting for this pot. So I do put in the fold and live to see another day. Some people fall in love with their ace king and will get stacked in these spots. I included this hand to show you guys one of the traps that you should have learned to avoid at low stakes. I'm on the straddle on the button. I have ace 8 suited with 2 limpers in the field. This is a pretty straightforward raise. I'm going to be raising a lot of suited connectors, a lot of pairs, a lot of Broadway cards here, and certainly a lot of ace X suited. And, you know, I feel comfortable raising a fairly wide range here because you want to give yourself some space to fold. We do see the limp jam for 200 from the player on my right. This is a pretty straightforward fold, guys. Don't fall for this trap unless the player does this like 4, 5, 6 times a session. He's just not bluffing. Next up, I've got ace king offsuit in the cutoff. I think there's 1 or 2 limpers in the field, and so I bet 10. I should probably be opening bigger, 15, maybe even 20 when there's multiple limpers. You know, you guys got to kind of feel out your own sizings here, but ideally we want to be heads up. Instead, we get 3 callers, so we're 4 ways to the flop. There's about $30 in the middle. 9-5 deuce, that's a rainbow, so not obviously that great for my range, but I do want to continue telling the story that I've got an overpair, and when it checks to me, I bet 20. I think that's pretty reasonable. It does give some room for some of the scarier holdings like 9-5 if they just are floating. To give, I want to give them an opportunity to raise off here. We do get 1 call from the field, and we are heads up to the turn. 7 of spades, so that's starting to kind of create some straight draw situations. He checks to me. I'm fine checking my equity here. I can potentially bluff catch on the river if the sizing's right, or just take the equity. He checks to me on the river, which is a 5 of diamonds. I show that I have ace king, and he shows 10-6, so I don't really know what he was calling here with pre-flop or on the flop. Yes, I promise he really did have 10-6. I have it in my notes. So yeah, there's a lot of profit to be made here just with ace high. Next notable hand of the session, I'm in the hijack. It's labeled hijack. I think technically I'm in the low jack, but this is middle position for all fundamental purposes here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 players, something like that, limping in front, and I have pocket aces. So definitely going to raise. Unfortunately, I picked a bad sizing. $10 from middle position is just not enough to get any folds. As soon as one player calls, basically everybody else is priced into call, and that's exactly what we see happen here. We've got 4 field callers, so the equity in my aces are dramatically reduced when we go multi-way. Watch your sizings, guys. If you're in a game where players are calling routinely 2, 3 ways when there's $15 out there at 1-2, raise your sizings. Just start betting more, right? Ideally, you just want to be heads up against one player. As this hand plays out, we see that the multiple players check to me. I continue the aggression, $20, pretty reasonable bet, and we do actually get that all the way through. Everybody folds. We take down a small pot, but I just wanted to point out the sizings here. If you've made it this far into the video, tell me what you think about the format. Is it better to have like one session in one video where it's all the same session, or is it better to just have the highlights where I can kind of combine multiple sessions? Let me know what you think. I have pocket kings in the cutoff, and with a couple of limpers in front, this is going to be a raise. Obviously, I do like the sizing here at 15. I think it's fine. I'm in late position. Might even be able to go a size 20 and still get a caller. Kind of depends on the session, the table dynamics. You guys know what I mean. Some tables are a lot looser than others. But anyway, I do get one call from the button, and so we are heads up to the flop, and we have a 9-9-7 flop rainbow. So there's, maybe some straight draws here. He could have a 9. I mean, it's possible. People call pretty light when it's button versus cutoff. I check and he checks back, so now I don't think he has a 9 basically in any situation. I think a delayed c-bet here is perfectly fine. I make it 15, and he does pretty quickly decide to call. So, what is this range? He could have some straight draws. He could have maybe some backdoor spade draws. He probably doesn't have a 9. He probably doesn't have a super strong hand. In most cases, I would expect him to pile more money in. We do check the river when it's an 8 of diamonds, and he checks back quickly with an ace high, and we win that one. All right, last notable hand of the session. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you made it this far. I really appreciate it. It helps me out a lot, and it encourages me to keep posting. I have a lot more content, the guys that I haven't even shared yet. We're just getting started. So I'm in the big blind. We see an open to 5. This is never a strong open, right? It's so rare that I see somebody open, min raise open, and then actually have a real hand that I just don't worry about it at all. I'm going to be raising, 90+% of my strong range here. We could fold off something like king jack offsuit if he does happen to have aces and he's just kind of goofing around here. But I make it 20. We do get one call, so we are heads up to the flop. We get an ace high flop. It's a dry static board, so what is this range? He could have some ace x here, but he's going to have a lot of junk too, so I don't necessarily mind a c-bet out of position when we're heads up like this, and we do take that one down. And that wraps up the second session, guys. I was in for 400, out for 235, so I had a loss of 165 for the session. Over 3.5 hours, it's about $49 per hour, pretty similar to the last session. But I did have a lower VPIP, 20% overall. It just is card distribution. I don't tend to play much tighter or much looser in any given session. I have a pretty solid range overall, so it a lot of times comes down to just what cards I'm dealt. Sometimes people only have one session playing with me and they might think I'm a nit, I'm super tight, and it's really just because I'm not being dealt cards. What are you going to do with 10-3 offsuit, guys? You just throw it away. So anyway, appreciate all of you watching, and stay tuned for the next one.